Welcome to the podcast, guys. We are going to get into a new topic today. Before we do so, please make sure to support us, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, like the video, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and we are now on the formerly known as Twitter, now X. So follow us there, and let's get into our topic, a very important topic, not something that's overly talked about by other content creators, and you kind of hear it come up once in a while in the news, but romance scams. It's something that's very important that kind of gets swept under the rug a little bit. It's not really talked about much. It kind of comes up when it happens to people, but it does happen quite often. So what's your take on romance scams? What are some thoughts that you have on that?
Yeah, so we pulled some data on this, and I was actually shocked myself as to what I found. So just some quick data for you. In 2022, nearly 70,000 people reported a romance scam, with reported losses hitting a staggering $1.3 billion. The median reported loss is $4,400, meaning the average person loses about $4,000 in one romance scam.
Crazy.
Another point, 2 in 5 people have reported being asked for money through dating apps. And the shocking part of it is that 50% of those people have admitted to sending money to strangers. So you would figure that people would have the common sense to know not to do this stuff and that it's clearly a scam, but apparently it's not the case. So we wanted to cover this today because most of the time when we talk about dating apps, we talk about it in a completely different context. We talk about what to write, what to say, what not to say, how not to simp, what have you. But apparently romance scams are a much bigger of an issue than we originally thought. And so let's get into it.
So what can you say in detail about what romance scams are?
Yeah, so this is straight from the FTC website. So according to the Federal Trade Commission, romance scammers create fake profiles on dating websites or dating apps to start an online relationship and build trust through talking to you sometimes several times a day with the intention of getting financial gain. So what typically happens, simply put, is somebody will create a fake profile. They will target somebody online, start up a conversation, build that kind of relationship with them to the point where that person trusts them, and then they will start making their moves to try to get money out of them. And sometimes it'll start with a very small amount. They might just ask you for $15 to $20 just to kind of bait you in to see if you'll do it, and then they'll do more and more. And I actually have some common lines that are used by scammers. So this is probably the most common one, is they'll say that somebody close to them is either sick, injured, or in jail. So once they build that relationship with you, they'll hit you with, hey, my relative just had a surgery, or so-and-so's in jail, and they'll create that urgency, like I need $1,000, or they're going to be stuck there. I need it right now, and they create that urgency with you. Another one is, which I think we've all received DMs like this in the past, is I could teach you how to invest. Let me teach you about crypto. So that's a pretty obvious one. I think we've all gotten those, and I just blocked the profile immediately. And then another common one is I'm in the military, or I'm far away in a country, and they'll tell you they need money to get back, to fly back, or they're stuck in a certain country. So those are the 3 common lines used by them.
Now, it's a scary thought because there's people out there, many of them, in the world somewhere, whether it's the U.S. or somewhere else, and they're getting behind a profile and they're targeting these innocent people, and people are falling for it. They think that it's true. They think it's believable. They start trusting it and putting all their faith into it, thinking that this is something that they have to invest in, when their reality is that they're investing in a scam. They don't realize it until it's too late. So how exactly do these romance scams work?
So number one, we just covered what are some common lines that they use. So how will they ask you to send them money? Well, basically what'll happen is sooner or later they're going to ask you to either send the money with something that's hard to reverse or track, like Cash App, Venmo, a very common one now is cryptocurrency. Okay, so I think most people have the common sense to watch out for this, but senior citizens, especially, and I'm going to share a story in a minute of what I experienced the other day that really like made me sick to my stomach. But what they'll basically do is they'll ask you to send them money via Cash App or Venmo. It's quick, it's direct, they get it right away, and they could send it to a fake account and pull the money out right away. And if they use crypto, it's very hard to trace. If you send Bitcoin to somebody, they could have a wallet set up and pull that money out, and it's very hard. Even if you try to go after them, it'll be very hard. It's very hard to trace.
So you've seen or almost seen somebody get personally scammed? What's the story about?
Yeah, so a couple days ago, I overheard a stranger. This was an older guy, probably in his 60s, definitely retirement age. And he wanted to send $700 something to some woman he quote unquote met online. And she was requesting Bitcoin. And as soon as I heard that, like, I was like, oh man, I know exactly what this is. And I felt so bad because this guy was like definitely in his 60s, probably, who knows, maybe he's like widowed, single, probably was just like looking for somebody to talk to online. And this woman chatted him up, gave him attention. They probably built a relationship. Who knows? They might have been, that's another thing is they might talk to you for months or weeks to build that trust with you. And this guy wanted to send her, $700 in Bitcoin. I don't know if he ended up doing it or not. A part of me wanted to go up to him and explain to him like what's happening, but I'm like, it's a stranger. Let me not get involved. But actually that kind of like triggered me to like actually talk about this on this episode, because when I saw that I was like, wow, like, so this is just one person. How often is this happening? How many other older people are just spending their retirement money or savings, sending it to a complete stranger, thinking they're helping someone out? And that's the sick part about it, is that you're taking advantage of an older person that doesn't know any better, and they think that they're helping somebody because somebody needs financial help, and they're getting screwed over. So it's a sick world we live in.
It seems like it could come off very traumatizing. Obviously, you saw that, and now we're talking about it here, and warning folks out there to really be careful of these scams. I mean, don't give in to anything that comes your way, because it could truly be a lie. And, more or less, it's going to keep happening. And you may not think that it's what it is. It's a scam, but it truly is a scam. I mean, now there's so many things in the world going on. Things are tough. Jobs are hard to come by. People are getting let go from their jobs. It's, costs are high, rent's high, car expenses are high, food's high. Everything's just so out there right now. And everybody's doing what they can to cut corners, and scamming is one of them.
You see, like, younger people, we talk about simping a lot. Younger people, they go online looking for romantic or sexual relationships. Older people, that's not really the case. A lot of the time, older people just go online just because they want somebody to talk to, or, they have nobody to talk to at all, so they go online and then somebody chats them up and they build trust that way. So they're the biggest targets for this. Anybody that has like aunts, uncles, grandparents, or whatever that has a smartphone, this is something you should definitely cover with them, because romance scams are one. They could get scammed through texts, emails, links. Now we've all seen it where they'll send you a link that looks like you're claiming a prize, or it looks like it's an email from Walmart, claim your $100 gift card. And you could really be a victim of identity theft, which is a whole nother beast, because once they get, your name, social address, what have you, your credit card information, it could really get ugly. So
you think older folks, especially, give into that, based on your story, older folks give into it based on the need for some sort of partner or companionship in their life?
I think, simply put, senior citizens are obviously not on dating apps to look for a sexual romantic relationship. I think they're more on apps just to talk to people, because they're lonely, they're older, a lot of, maybe husband. And this could, by the way, this could happen to both men or women. I'm not saying this only happens to men. We were doing a little research on this. There was one older lady that got scammed out of like $700,000. We just pulled up an article on it. So it's happening to both. But yeah, I think they go online just to have somebody to talk to, and then you build that trust. That scammer could talk to you for a few months before they make their move. So by then the person trusts them, like, oh, well, I know who that is. We've been speaking for months, and they just had this random emergency happen. They need money. A lot of these people have, retirement savings, so they think they're doing something out of goodwill to help somebody, and they're being scammed. So,
Well, I've, based on sources here, that romance scams are the riskiest for people ages 55 to 64. And what do you say about that? Do you
exactly, because unless you're living under a rock, most millennials, Gen Z are. We understand how the internet works. If somebody tries to scam us, like most people are going to have the common sense to know better. But senior citizens, they're from a different era. They don't understand how any of this really works. A lot of them are getting their first smartphone. They're from a different era. They don't understand how this works. So they learn how to use a smartphone. They get on these apps, and that's why they're the biggest targets. And scammers are going to specifically target people like that because they know they have a higher chance.
Even though older folks get the most targeted and are likely to be the most scammed using romance tactics, how about younger people? How about people in their 20s? How about people in their 30s? Would you say anyone else is at risk? Do you think younger people are more awake to that and know that, if something like that comes across, they know it's like, come on, it's BS.
I think when people fall for it, they get too emotionally invested in somebody. I would say first and foremost, you should never send anybody even a penny online at all. I mean, especially think about it, if you've never met the person, don't send them anything. Especially if you've never FaceTimed them, like you don't even know if this person exists. If you're going based off of just the profile, the pictures in your conversation, you never send them anything at all. And actually don't give them even any information. I wouldn't even give somebody, if somebody asked me like, hey, where are you from? I'm not going to give them like my city or my street or anything like that. I'll be very general because people are out there fishing for information. You don't know, nowadays you could Google somebody and like once somebody has your name, they could find your address and other information about you.
Do you think people opening up too quick with these romance scams, like the scammer coming in and saying that, they start talking to you, they say hello, and then they say, oh, well, I really like how this is going. I like you, or I love you, or whatever the case is. Do you think them opening up very quickly is a big red flag?
Yeah, 100%. Good you brought that up, and you should watch out for those red flags. Like if a woman hits you up on Tinder and she's getting like trying to connect with you super quick and get to know you, like that should already be a red flag. But I think where guys get scammed on dating apps, like younger guys, is they get a little bit too emotionally invested and excited about the whole thing, and then she might throw something at you like, hey, my rent, my car payment, and make you feel bad. And then you think, that's where like hardcore simping comes into play, where you like send a random woman money thinking like, you have a chance of hooking up with her. But I guarantee you that happens. Yeah, for sure.
So sources say that the year prior, from July 2023, Americans have lost over $1 billion to romance scams in the past year. So you're talking about July 2022 to July 2023. I can't imagine how crazy it is right now. We don't have the stats. We're in February 2024. However, I can't imagine it being better. I can only see it being worse. It seems like, based on what's been going on, maybe are people repeat offenders to being scammed? So I'll kind of repeat that question. Do you feel like people are continuously getting scammed over and over again and they don't learn the lesson the first time?
100%. I think what tends to happen is when people get scammed, it's not like they just send the person $4,000 and it's a done deal. I think it happens in incremental amounts. I think first they send them 20 and then another 50 and then 100. And the next thing you know, they keep talking because the person, think about it, right? If a scammer got a little bit of money out of you, do you think they're just going to end it there? No, they're going to continue that relationship and then build even more trust with you, because now you're going to go, well, it's not a scammer because I just sent them money last week. They're still talking to me. They didn't block me, and they're going to weasel more and more out of you until they get what they want. Like I mentioned before, the median reported loss in a romance scam is $4,400. So I don't believe that these people are just clearly sending $4,000 in one shot. I think what's happening is like by the time you realize you got duped, you already sent them money multiple times. So 100%.
See, that's the problem when people give into these things and they fall for that trap. They send some money via Venmo or PayPal or a bank transfer even. I mean, crazy stuff. And once they get you to that point where you end up sending them the money, they'll disappear and they'll say, "Gotcha, bitch." That's it. They'll be gone. So as long as they can get that far with you, they'll disappear and your money will be gone just because you fell for their romance tactics, which weren't true.
And if you send that money via crypto, Cash App, Venmo,
Crypto as well. Yep.
you'll probably never see that money again. You could consider it lost. Really quick, I have a number for everyone if anybody thinks they're being scammed or knows somebody that's being scammed online. There's a number where you can report this stuff. So you can report romance scams at the number is 1-866-347-2423. Again, that's going to be 1-866-347-2423. They're available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can save somebody a headache. Hopefully we can save somebody's life doing this particular episode and giving out this information and waking some of you guys up. The thing that you don't realize is that there's a lot of bad people out there. Let's face it. It's unfortunate. And a lot of people are motivated in a negative way based on finances, money. People are struggling. They want to steal money. They want to take advantage of you, and people will do whatever it takes to do that. It's just fact of life. So no matter what you think about that particular person, how good you may think they are, how trustworthy you may think they are, at the end of the day, you only know them through your phone. So you really have a relationship per se with your phone. You don't have a relationship with that person until you meet them. For sure, you go out with them, obviously meet with them in a public place and take it from there. And if something develops, great. Some sort of romantic relationship, partnership, companionship, whatever it is, go about it that route. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, just like some people put their life savings all in that one basket and give it to somebody that they don't even know. Just because you think you're going to get love. You think you're going to get companionship. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Don't risk it because you've worked all your life for that money. I mean, I have here that on the news there was a widow that was swindled out of her life savings and now finds out that she's not going to have any companionship and any place to live. She's going to be homeless now. And this woman lost more than $70K in her life savings. That's all she had. She had $70K. That was her life savings. At a snap of a finger, gone.
You remember the Tinder swindler, right? It was like a hit on Netflix. That's a romance scam. And what the tactic he used was urgency. He would text these women like, "I'm in trouble now. I need that money ASAP. I'll pay you back." Couple months later, "Oh my God, something came up again. I need you to just send me this. I'll send you it right back." And they always use emergencies and urgency, and they get you emotionally involved to the point where you feel like you have to help them. So that's generally how it works. If you have any like senior citizens in your family that are using smartphones now, your parents, go through this with them because I guarantee you they have no idea.
Absolutely, definitely. The younger group, right, sons and daughters of older people, parents, grandparents, watch out for them because they may not know that someone's talking to them through some social media app. You know, could be Facebook, could be Instagram, could be Snapchat. You know, as crazy as it is to believe that somebody, you know, in the older generation would be on Snapchat, but it happens everywhere. I've seen it happen. And of course, we've come across those instances where people try to do that to us. I'm not going to hide it. I mean, anybody can DM you and try to set you up with some, "Hey, send me money because I need a flight out to see my parents." Because
the old school way of scamming senior citizens, because this has been going on for decades. This isn't like a new concept. Now it's switched up a little bit because now you have smartphones in it. We're in a whole nother era. But the old school way of doing it is they would call senior citizens and extort them by saying, we have your grandson in jail. You have to bail him out or he's going to be stuck here. We need you to wire $2,000. So that was the old school way of doing it. It was the same concept, except they would call them on their landline or
I've heard
their
stories.
phone.
I've heard stories like that, yeah.
And they would create that urgency by saying, hey, we have so-and-so in prison right now. We can't put him on the phone until you pay us, da-da-da-da-da. And that was the old school way of doing it. So it's the same idea. They're just doing it online.
Exactly. There's a couple things. One thing is the gut feeling. If you have a gut feeling that there's going to be something wrong with what's going on, don't fall for it. Investigate it first. Maybe report it to your local authorities and see where it goes from there, because you may find out that it's really some sort of scam. If some sort of, any family member or friend is involved, reach out to them personally and figure out, is this really happening?
I think it's a good idea for everyone to, whether it's your parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, give them a rundown of what to watch out for on their phone. Set some limits if you have to. If they do use Cash App or Venmo or anything like that, explain to them what to watch out for, what not to click on, because it can very, very easily happen to them. So
yeah, another thing is, if it's too good to be true, it just may be too good to be true. You see something, they tell you, oh, I need to borrow $20,000, for example, or not even that much. Let's say $2,000. I'll pay you back double that in a month. You don't go ahead and just send them the $2K. I would block them right away. I would block them and try to report that page, of course, if it's online.
They even have
report it to somebody. Figure out a way to report it, make it known, and avoid that completely.
They even have scams where they'll tell the person that it's going to a charity or to help others. And think about it, like a senior citizen's going to get a picture of a dog or something, or some kid in a third world country, and even that in itself could be a scam. Right now we're just talking about romance scams, but honestly, there's like a million different ways this could go down. So I would just take a few minutes and go through with them, like what to watch out for, and make sure they're aware of it. Because I think with senior citizens, you have to kind of explain it to them thoroughly so they understand that it can really get serious. So
yeah, it's important for, again, senior citizens, more of the elderly group of people, to understand this. But of course, anybody at any time could be at risk. So everybody should always be on their toes and make sure they're aware. At the family dinner, have this conversation, every time you get together with your family, and make it known that this could be an issue. And don't do something silly like give money to a stranger in any way, shape, or form. And you could save yourself a grand old headache for sure. So
yeah, that's pretty much all I have for this episode. I think this was a really important topic. It's a little bit different than what we usually talk about, but this was really good.
Yeah, and keep in mind, before we close out, emotions, right? Watch your emotions, how you react to things, because in life, it's not about what happens to you, it's how you react to it. So if someone tries to scam you in some sort of way, using love, using some emotional tactic, that right there, you should right away close out, block, and get away from immediately, because they're going to use emotions to open your emotions up to be like, hey, let me give these people money because they have a sick family member, or they really need it, because if not, they won't be able to pay their rent, whatever the case is. Watch your emotions, control your emotions, watch the way you react, and react accordingly. Protect yourself, protect your loved ones, your friends and family, and you'll be thankful for that at the end of the day. So hopefully we gave some clarity on this topic. And again, any romance scams, any type of scams could happen. Always be on the lookout, always be on your toes, because you never know when that can happen. And really work on preventative measures, because once something happens, once you send that PayPal out, once you send that Venmo out,
It's done.
it's gone. So really, really make sure that you use this episode to open up your eyes. Share this episode, and we'll close it out here. So make sure you guys please subscribe to the channel. We are putting out there a lot of shorts recently, and we're going to keep going with the clips, the episodes. Like the video, share the video. Follow us on all our socials. We're on X now, so follow us there.
On X, our handle is the Podcast Guys 5. Yeah. Podcast Guys wasn't available, so
we tried to do the Podcast Guys, tried to use underscores, all that, but it was taken. I guess the Podcast Guys could be a little bit of a common name, but we are the Podcast Guys 5 on X. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and of course, subscribe to the channel, like the video, support us. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and we will see you next time. Thank you, guys.